The big thing here is I got a lot of messages from coaches on like, hey, I would love to hear something about this. Like, there's a lot of people in situations where they don't have access to long course swimming or very limited access. And
Right.
of course, we're all still trying to perform. So,
Absolutely.
Garrett, let's just start with just introduce yourself. And then
Good.
I'm just gonna get going with questions and we'll just talk swimming for a bit. Sound good?
Sounds good. For those that don't know, my name is Garrett Nelson. I'm the site head coach for Quad A Alamo Heights. Um, we only have a short course facility. Quad A's got 8 sites in San Antonio. We're based out of San Antonio. Each school district facility has a site. Um, as much as you would think we all work together well, we do our best to, but we pretty much stick to our own sites. So whatever we have is what we're pretty much limited to. So.
Cool.
Um, I
Okay,
coach our
so you
sectional and up.
guys,
Do you need me to go anything else about that or
sorry,
no?
go.
I said I
No,
coach our
no, you're
sectional
good.
and
What
up
were you
crew,
gonna say?
and then I work with our 11 to 14 tags kids. So that's pretty much what I work with right now, besides overseeing the program.
Yeah. Um, okay, so as far as like long course water during the week, do you have any practice long course water during the week, or are you all short course?
So at the moment, we are still all short course. When we get to summertime,
Mhm.
we get mornings long course. And I basically try to balance it with all the groups getting at least 2 long course practices a week. That's how I do it.
Okay.
So, not so much the novice groups, the developmental groups, they pretty much stay in short course. It actually works really well for them. But like the groups that are training for like our LSC champs, tags, sectionals, futures, etc., trying to get them in pool, long course pool twice a week. So
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, tags is like the swimming Olympics of Texas.
for
So
14 unders,
for
yeah.
14 and unders,
Yeah.
what do people call it? The
Texas Olympic.
It's like the Texas
Texas
Swimming
Olympics.
Championships of the world or something.
Yeah. Texas Olympics, Mike. We got the
Tags is a
trademark
big
tag. So
Texas Olympics. So, okay, man. So what does like let's start with your high school group. Specifically, you have 2 long course workouts a week once you get started. Or how about this? What are you doing right now to
right.
help them for long course swimming? Are you doing anything different? Following the training plan? Because you're already racing long course, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
what does that conversation look like right now? What does that
we've
training look like?
we've swam 4 meets so far. I got 2 new futures kids so far, only swimming yards. I have 5 new sectional qualifiers. I mean, a lot of, good cuts all across the board without being in a long course pool besides racing for a meet. Um, Pretty much yardage wise is a little bit higher than short course, not crazy, but we're consistently staying at a higher yardage to make up for the lack of meters long course swimming, I do a lot of
Yeah,
oddball.
if you had to put like a percentage on it more or even a number per day or per week, what would that be for you guys?
Okay, in yards, I averaged probably 6,250. I know it's super strange, but 6,250 was my number. And long course, we're closer to like 6,800. And then some days we're going
Okay.
7K. So
Okay. Yeah, 10%.
yeah, like it's a
Yeah.
nominal amount, but enough just to maintain the kid's fitness level a little bit more. So, and we're doing a lot of different distances as well. Like in yards, when you're training just for short course, all like 500 pace, we're going like hundreds at 5 pace, 50s at 5 pace, 50s for 2 pace, stuff like that. For long course, everything's like 75s, 125s. So if we're doing pace work, because I got to get them racing a little bit longer, because even though that's technically longer than 100 meters or 50 meters, you know what I mean? It gets them in the right idea of their swimming.
Yeah.
um, so one thing I spent a lot of time still working on is turns, because I have so many of them with yards. The past 3 meets, we've been pretty good underwater. Like comparison to the other kids who've been swimming long course only or been doing 5, 6 long course
Hmm.
practices a week, we have been beating them in and out of the flags, and in underwater as well. So it's been good to see for us as well because of that. So haven't gotten lazy yet. So.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been able to capitalize like, hey, we have a chance here to work on our turns. So like let's work on our turns, right?
For sure. We spend a lot of time doing turn work still, um, dive work, making sure we're working on the important aspects of the race, and then just training wise, they're doing different distances, thinking about things differently. So, kick sets, we're going 150 instead of hundreds or 250 instead of 200s. If we do 200s kick fast, just because it's like if I can get them thinking about going more fast at a time, it's
Hmm.
better preparing them for stuff. Like last week, we went on Friday a 200 on 8 minutes. Well, we went a 250 on 8 minutes. Um, 150 on 6 minutes, and then a 50 on 3 minutes. It was off the blocks Friday. Still did a 50 because the kids like the 50, but the 150 and the 250 to get them ready for swimming more. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just 250
Yeah,
stroke.
that extra you need that extra in long course racing. You're always going to hit a point, especially with your kids that aren't maybe as experienced, where
Yep.
they're like, "Wow, this is a little long." Like I think when kids start getting better, they just adapt to that distance more. They don't overthink that as much.
Oh, no
But
doubt.
definitely like sectional level and under are like sometimes they're still like, all right, that 100 felt like a lot longer than that.
For sure. And I think the first meet out of the rip, they kind of surprised me because they started where the end of the summer at last year. And I was like, okay, we're in really good shape, but we have no speed. Like our 50 frees
Hmm.
sucked. I shouldn't say they sucked, but like they just weren't as good as I thought they would be. And our 100 frees were
Everybody's
okay.
gonna hear this,
I
Garrett.
know it's all good, but our 200s of stroke and our 200 frees and our hundreds of stroke, not the 100 free, they did really well on those. So I was surprised by that because we just we raced that really well. Now this past weekend we had like a May prelim final meet. Kids suited up.
Hmm.
We don't let them suit up every meet. It's kind of like we kind of guide them when they're going to suit up when we want them to suit up based on what we're doing in the water, tailor it around that. Everyone suited up, and we had 9 new tags qualifiers, 14 and unders. So it was pretty crazy. And they didn't just pick up like 50s of stroke, which are usually pretty easy. But we picked up some 200s of
Hmm.
stroke, which was really nice to see. So I think what we're doing is working, and we're maintaining their fitness level, and they're getting comfortable racing long course. It's more of a matter of the mental side of things, which I always tell kids it's still just swimming 450s, regardless if there's 7 turns or 3 turns. So
Hmm. So would you say right now you're doing like less pace or higher intensity stuff with the longer swims? Like is it more like in that pink red threshold zone? Or are you still doing like a similar amount to what you're doing short course, I think pace and stuff like that?
we're definitely doing less. We're still doing a decent amount. We're doing a good amount. Spending a
Hmm.
little bit more in between pink and red, sometimes even blue pace. It just kind of depends because like there's been days where they're feeling really good and I'm gonna let them swim. I'm gonna let them go fast, and I'll even modify it because I'll ask the kids. I said, "Hey, y'all feel really good today? Y'all want to go for it?" And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I'm letting them do it. We've hit purple and blue-ish range a couple times, but not near as
Yeah.
much as we do in short course. Pace work, we're kind of just. I always keep it to like 1 or 2 days a week, but everything we're doing right now is geared towards how do you race a race? Because even if it's a 200 free in yards, you can still race a 200 in long course the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Same similar strategy.
Similar strat.
Um, yeah. So when you guys start going into long course, you only have 2 days. What are you using those 2 days for?
Probably pace work. I mean, I've just to get them racing, going fast in a long course pool, getting them used to it. That's what we're going to do in a long course pool. Good amount of long course
Hmm.
kicking too, just to make sure they're kind of getting used to not having that wall in the middle. But mostly the fast stuff is going to transition to being long course, and then we'll do the aerobic stuff in yard still because we're having good
And like
success with that. Yep.
your skill work probably be more yards too, like
Oh
turns,
gosh,
starts,
yes.
all that stuff. Yeah.
I'll tell you that is one of the big benefits because when you start long course and you want to start with some skill work to get the kids a lot of activation work, some drills to make sure their strokes are looking good again before they start training, it truly is beneficial to get to do all that in yards because then they're not doing the wrong drill for a 50. It can be a 25, you know?
Yeah.
And you can take the time to do 25s with them and kind of tweak everything to work everything that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what is your I don't know if you I guess you start next week those long course practices. What does your weekly breakdown look like for your group? Like in a perfect week if everything goes your way and there's not a meet in the way or not a delay or practice cancellation or something.
for sure. So it's 6-day week. Monday morning, we'll start with my sectional group. We're going Monday, Friday AM long course. Tuesday, Thursday morning, we're going an hour and 15 minutes of speed work with power towers, and then we get out and go an hour of dry land.
Hmm.
And then Wednesday morning is aerobic IM always. Um, that's in short course as well, not long course. That's a short course one. And then Monday night we go aerobic free usually just to start the week off in a good spot. Um, Tuesday and Thursday night we break up into groups. We either go IM, stroke, and it depends on what I want. They're either going worst stroke or main stroke. It just kind of depends on the day and the week because I want them to work
Hmm.
at least the worst stroke one day a week pretty hard and then pair it with some IM stuff. Maybe it's some fast IM stuff off the blocks, or it's aerobic. It depends how the week flows and when the next meet is. Like if we have a meet in that weekend, we're probably doing more speed work Thursday, less Tuesday. Tuesday we're probably swimming a little bit more. Um, Wednesday night is almost always a challenge set of some kind, whether it's a lot of hundreds or 125s in like a challenging interval, and it's how many can you make, and then we pair it with a kick set on a pretty high intense interval that is supposed to be really challenging for them to kind of see if they're progressing or not. So I think right now I got a boy. He's made 10 ones kick on 120 in yards, and he's holding 109s. So that's great.
Yeah.
I told
Yeah.
him we're probably going to move down to 115 here soon, but he missed a week because of finals for school. So struggling with that a little bit, but you know what I mean. That's still an
Yeah.
impressive feat to have under his belt right now.
Yeah, especially halfway through the year.
Oh yeah.
So, so you said, you're doing more race pace and speed work on the long course days. Um, that Monday morning practice long course, and I'm assuming you did this last summer as well.
Yep.
Like, how does it go, man? First, I personally don't love starting the week off with like pace and speed work just because it's like sometimes we need an aerobic practice or something under our belt before we get going. But
It
I mean,
is
you're in a situation where like, hey, this is our long course time. This is what we're gonna do. How does that
it
go?
it has definitely been challenging and it's been a switch up
Hmm.
for the kids, but they also know like it's been pretty consistent like this for the 2 years. And they know it's like, hey, the long course water we have, he's gonna make the most out of it, and everything's gonna be
Hmm.
geared towards either race pace stuff, fast stuff, and long course, getting us to like buy in to learn how to race races in a long course fashion while we're swimming in a long course pool. Um, and I'll be completely honest with you. Monday night is almost always active recovery from that morning because, and by I mean, I say active recovery, I mean like activation work, skill work. We do a
Yeah.
lot of sculling, stuff like that, a lot of drills, a lot of aerobic, just freestyle, and some moderate kicking, mostly just to get them back in good spots after doing that to get ready for the rest of the week. But I think with just like honest conversation with them, they've bought into it really well. They know what to
Yeah.
expect. So I mean, they pretty much have an idea every week of what it's going to look like. I'll be honest. So
Yeah. So, you're a couple years into it, so the understanding is there of what they need to do.
right.
What does the conversation look like when a parent walks up to you and say, "How are we supposed to be good at long course if we never swim long course swimming?" Do you have those
Uh,
conversations? Do you get those?
So I definitely had them years ago. Like 2 years
Hmm.
ago, probably when I first kind of transitioned into this, and I was younger than I am now. Parents would definitely ask me. I always tell people, we're doing the same amount of yardage or the meters. Like we're making up for that by increasing the threshold that we're doing and swimming at. And the kids are going to be in just as good or even better shape than they are in short course to help prepare them for long course. I said the taper plan looks a little different, but that's also because long course speed work is different than short course. But I think it's more about selling to the parents that like everything's going to be fine. But I will say, like I said, from my perspective, I have a lot of kids who they're dropping time right now. So no parent's going to ask you a question. How do you feel about
Yeah.
not having long course water? But the kid that's not dropping time or struggling, you know, in more cases than not, I look at that kid and I go back to short course. Did they have a similar struggle in short course when they were under high training? Like, are they just a taper only kid? Like, like, do they wait till the end always to have the big meets?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
And long course season, you have to start with more just out the
do
gate. Like you're just
absolutely.
it's more of a continuation of short course. Like it's not the same like we're starting our the whole plan over again for this season.
Yeah, and I think like in short course we have like that little grace period where you have like a month where you can really do drills and make kids strokes a lot better, and you can teach kids those 3 to 4 quality drills that you're going to use probably a good part of the season so they know what they're doing.
Hmm.
But in long course, you're going to keep the same drills flowing, but you're going to start them with more swimming off the rip, in my opinion. That's what I had to do.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
mean, we took a week off after sectionals and for spring break. It was the kids' spring break week. A lot of them were traveling. They came back Monday, and not a single kid Monday afternoon was expecting a drill practice. I can tell you that much. They knew we were going to do some kind of aerobic freestyle kick set to try and get their body back in shape. So, and that's what they kind of expected for a week. I mean, generally, I lay out practice it's I'm like super structured. To the minute, we share our pool with like club water polo, club diving. So like everything's got to be really structured for me. So warm up, we run warm up, some type of like kick or drill set, and then main set, and then warm down. Usually every practice. Kick drill, it kind of just depends. We did a lot more drill work to start the season with them instead of having a kick set up front, and then we had a lot more kick sets as the main set, try and get their legs back in shape to get everything
Hmm.
their legs underneath them first, because I was more worried about that than I was getting their body back in shape, because anyone can swim a whole bunch of yards freestyle bad without legs.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's just
Yeah,
trying
you
to get
said you said the word kick like I think 37 times so far.
yeah, I love it,
So
man. We kick a lot. We
yeah,
kick
like does it change for short course to long course for you? Is it just like are you kicking every day? Or I mean, you said you're doing a little bit longer on your higher quality kicking, especially.
So we
Um,
pick more fast stuff in long course than we do in short course, for sure. And that probably comes down to just the distances, if that makes sense. So like we're
mhm.
doing more of yards of kick. Same intensity, probably, same amount of rest they would get when we're doing it in yards. They train like a hard yard kick set. It's more just about the fact of like we're gonna up it a little bit so their legs are in better shape to handle those races that are a little bit longer. So that's where like for me, a lot of the odd distances come in. Like 125's kick, man, they have never wanted to do 125's kick in their life, because you go a
Yeah,
108, 100 kick on a board in yards, and then you have to turn and do another 25. Your legs are already burning. So, like, that extra 25 hurts a decent amount. But I mean,
yeah.
it's what I've always had to do with them because I don't have access to a long course pool. So they know that too. So I think for
One
them,
also kick work like different than swimming. When you're swimming yards, the turns in underwaters are going to make a big difference on the number of
oh, yeah.
strokes you take. When you do a kick set, like you're still kicking 95% of each lap
Oh,
because you're
yeah.
not, depending on what, I mean, if you're doing like fly kick on back, flutter kick on back, but free kick with a board, it's like you're pushing off and you're before the flags, you're already kicking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty mean. I don't let them take a stroke into the wall either. So they got a kick, touch, turn.
Dang.
I know. It's bad. The boys figured out how to flip turn recently, so they started flip turning with their boards. So
Hmm.
that's the new thing going right now. So, but yeah, I mean, it's to try and help make them better. That's all the whole thing. If I can get them to
Yeah.
buy into everything, they're gonna be a lot better. Um, I definitely have had the conversation with parents where I'm like, do you feel like my kid's doing enough long course training, this, that, or the other? And I'm like, if your kid just goes out there and executes race strategy, they're probably going to do pretty good. They're not in their head.
Yeah.
They get out there, they dive in, they race. I mean, they do well. Like I had a 14-year-old backstroker get futures in the 100 back and the 2 back and the what else did she get? She got the 100 fly. Her last tags about 2 years ago. No, she was 13 then. So it was 2 summers ago. Um and like we swam long course once a week that summer. That's it.
Yeah.
My distance swimmer, she went 18:03 in the mile. She went 4:36 in the 400. And she was like 2:14 in the two free as well, without swimming long course but one time. So like
Yeah.
I
One
think
time in the whole summer?
one time a week.
Oh, week. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was what we were training one time a week. So I think for the kids, if you get them to buy in and recognize that like it's still just swimming at the end of the day,
Yeah. Yep.
you can get the results that they want without having to worry about the limitations of the length of your pool. I definitely
Hmm.
know there's some people that have only 4 lanes to work with and they got to try and run 100 kids through 4 lanes. I think you can get it done. You got to get really creative, but you can definitely get everything done that you need to get done too. So,
Yeah, no, I think that's great. You mentioned something earlier. You said long course speed work is different than short course speed work. You just kind of said that real quick. What did you mean by that?
so like when we're doing speed work short course, everything I do is probably geared towards like parachute work, power tower work, stuff like that. So when we train long course, since we're not at my facility, adjust everything just to be about race pace stuff. How to race the
Hmm.
race, how to get the feeling, a lot less resistance work. We'll do some grab paddle stuff. Um, we will do all that, but everything we're doing is geared towards just how to race the race because we're still doing our resistance stuff in short course still because that's where all of my
Hmm.
equipment is for them. And they want to do that stuff still, so we're going to do it. We're going to maximize it in yards. They'll do it really well. I've experienced a lot of kids who can do a 25 with parachute really well, and then you do them tell them do a 50 long course, and they struggle really hard with it. So
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure you've
Yeah.
seen it too. It's just one of those where am I going to get more out of them for training that way and let them do what they want to do while still making it quality? And then how can I make long course tailored towards just them getting better at the swim itself? So,
Yeah.
and I mean, like,
So no, no, go. You're good.
so when they know they get 2 days a week to really try to figure out like goal time pace for a 200 stroke, especially, they are super intentional on everything. Like I have kids, it's like, they're telling me, and they're like, okay, I took 4 underwaters on that one. I don't think I'm going to take 4 in a race. I think I'm going to shoot for 6 actually in the two back. I'm going to try 6 on these next round of 50s, backstroke at two pace. And so they're learning how to race better and make the adjustments for themselves because they know that they have limited access to it. So they're going to try everything they want to try to get it done, basically. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think sometimes I think we make the mistake as coaches of like treating everything too much of the same and just helping your athletes differentiate like, look, this is what we're going to do long course. This is directly related to your race. So we only have this one day to do long course. Like you got to hit those six every wall. If you want to see it in a race, like you want to see it. But then
Right.
similar, you can also switch over to short course and say, if we can do 7 turns with six, three with six is going to be cake.
Right. Yeah, no, so like this past Saturday, we did some 200 stroke max effort. And I told them basically, like the first one was build, the second one was max effort. They were running them on 3 minutes. And just so they would get plenty of rest. It's short course yards, super chill.
Hmm.
And I literally told them, I said, the first one, I don't care how slow you start. Build to get your stroke rate up, get fast. And then the second one, I want you to go within 3 seconds of where you finished your best 200, the stroke you're doing in short course, right? So I had some girls going like 212, two backs. I had one go 208, but she's a 204. So like that was pretty good. I had a
Yeah.
girl pop a 210, two fly, and she's a 208 in yards. And then my breaststrokers almost went their best time. So one of them PR'd in practice. This is all from a push, by the way. No dive, just push
Wow.
200 fast. And they went through that twice. And before that, they went 4 125 stroke with tempo trainers thinking about stroke rate and DPS and turns. And then we went 3 100 stroke kick, descend 1 to 3. There was a little bit of easy swimming between everything, obviously, and sprint
Hmm.
every time. But I mean, that was the premise of what their set was. So they got after the stuff they wanted to get after. And then I think when they're seeing that they're almost going their best meet time in practice in a practice suit, it gets them really excited. So then they can correlate that to long course. Like, man, I'm going way faster than I did in yards. I can definitely beat my times from last summer. So it's the mental game too, a little bit. They just gotta think about things and how they're gonna do it, and how it's gonna
Yeah.
work for them. But I think anytime they can see some form of success and it makes them a little bit hungrier the next time they go to
Hmm.
race.
That's
Or
right. That's right.
it makes them even more intentional when they get to a long course practice because then they're gonna try to make everything count if they want it to count, you know, because it's like,
Yeah.
how do I
I think,
simulate the race?
sorry, man, this is what's hard about Zoom. Like there's like a delay in the
Oh, a little
conversation.
bit, yeah.
Like you're talking, I'm talking. But no, I think that's a great point because it's like sometimes I think coaches try to use their long course practice as like this is the day we need to get the most out of it. And then it's like you're just grinding them down, which look, we're all going to work hard and stuff like that. But what you're doing is like it's a short course practice and we're performing. like we're performing well. And kids are smart, especially your better athletes. Like they're gonna connect the dots. Like if I'm this close to my lifetime best here, like I'm ready, I'm getting ready to go.
Right,
And that translates straight over into long course. Like being ready is being ready. There's not long course ready, short course ready. It's like ready is ready physically.
for sure. I mean, I think, you can do all the physical stuff. It doesn't matter if it's short course yards, short course meters. I mean, long course meters, you can put a kid through 7,000 yard practices and get them in shape. You can do it in any pool configuration you have. It's just if you want them to learn how to race long course well, you got to do the race stuff there and not. And that's where I think coaches that have access to a long course pool, they're training it every morning long course, or even doubling long course, then doing short course twice a week. They get in that flow of like a lot of lazy swimming in the middle of a long course pool because it is
Hmm.
longer. A coach isn't going to be able to see the whole pool as well. They're going to like take advantage of the fact that the aerobic stuff is can be not as good. And I'll be honest,
Hmm.
if you're telling kids to take 5 to 7 underwaters and a short course yards practice for 200s, that's going to be way harder than aerobic 200s and long course taking 5 or 7 underwaters on those 3 turns, you know? So you can the lung part of it, the training the breath control and all that and training the lungs, that's even more important, I think, than just letting them swim up and down a pool because it's long course, they're gonna get the yards in.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Well, that's awesome, man. You got anything else to add on?
I don't think so, man. I mean that covers pretty much what, I've been kind of instructed all my coaches to do with things. I mean, we have some 9-year-old boys in our developmental group who have tags now who ended short course as BB level swimmers. Like they have no business being
Mm.
tags level swimmers, but they've gotten a lot better at swimming because they're getting to do a lot more drill and skill work in yards. And then their turns are just super crisp to where these hundredths of stroke, they're beating kids off every wall, they're beating them off the blocks, and their pullouts and their underwaters are good because they're trying to take four, and it's a lot easier to take four in a long course 100 free versus a
Hmm.
short course 100 free for them. And then age group standpoint, we move up to our 11 to 14s. They're just really hungry right now. I'll be really honest. They're super hungry. They want to go fast, and they're doing it. So, but yeah, that's about
That's
all I
cool.
got for everything. So.
That's fun, man. No, I think there's some really good nuggets there. Okay, just kicking, I mean, separate or the same. What would you consider really good kicking for a short course? Like, let's talk about intervals you like to see athletes making and what times they're going,
Right.
and then go over to long course. What do you like to see?
Okay. So my number that we use if we're doing descents, fastest average, whatever, I'm running everything on like 135 to 145 in short course yards. That's pretty much the
Hmm.
range. 130 is my favorite number, but not all of my kids are ready for 130 yet. I mean, we've
Yeah.
done 21's kick, fastest average, or like numbers 1 through 5 or dolphin kick on our back, and then those are fastest average. Then we'll throw on like flutter kick on our back, and then we'll go on a kickboard the back 10. And the goal is to hold faster than they did with underwaters. But I mean, I think it depends. At long course, we sit anywhere between 200 to 215, depending on the age of the kids. But I will say
Hmm.
some of our middle school kids are way better kickers than some of my high school kids. So they're able to kick like, for example, this morning at 5:30 a.m. One of the boys, he threw down a 112 kick fast in the middle of a set. So we ran 4 125s. We went 75 freestyle build, 10 rests on the wall, and then a 50 max effort free on 135. And they were pushing pretty hard, pretty fast. They had to be, or they wouldn't get any rest for the interval. And then he went into that, took 30 rest, and then he went 2 1s kick, number one build, and then he went number two, just rip all out fast. And I had probably 6 guys that were about 115 or better, and then 2 girls were under 118. So I think it depends. Um, like I have a girl in yards. She went a sub 6 minute 500 kick fast the short course. That was I thought pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
She could not move after that though. She couldn't function. She was done. But
Yeah.
she also is someone who like she could probably go 15 100s kick on 125, I think. So
Bet.
but like I would 100% believe she could do that. Like 15 ones kick on 125. Now, whereas my fastest boy kicker, he's been 103 so far in yards, but he's good for one. Like he's a sprinter. After his one, he's on the over my trash can in my pool deck, ready to puke. So like I said, I'm like anywhere from like 135, 145. That's my sweet spot, depending on like the
Yeah.
caliber of kickers I have in the group. Because I always look at it, I tell the really good kickers, I said, look, you can always go faster and get more rest. You can hold
Yeah.
a faster time for fastest average and just get more rest. It will hurt just the same. So I kind of look at the demands of the group, what we're working with, because even this, this long course, I got some new kids in my group who might not be as fast as some of my other kickers that were with me in short course, but they're getting a lot better now because we kick so much, and they're getting
Yeah.
faster, holding faster times. So it just depends. But like long course, 200, 215, that's our sweet spot because I still want them to try and break 130 if we're going fast with it, doing some quality kicking.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Nope, that's great. I think I'm right there with you on that. Cool. Well, man, thanks for your time, Garrett. I think this is gonna help a lot of people, even if it just gives people a framework of what to think about, and also not, if a coach is stressed out that they don't think they're getting their kids in the right spot for a meet, that translates over to the kids, right? A lack of
for
lack
sure.
of confidence in your work as a coach translates to lack in confidence in their ability to race your kids.
Oh yeah, they can read your facial expression. I'll tell you that much. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you think a practice is going poorly and you can't sell it or whiteboard and change it, the kids will 100% agree with you that that practice did not go well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of those. So I think your confidence and your preparation and what you need to do to feel prepared and feel comfortable in what you're doing. And you got to own what you got too. You have to own your limitations. You got to know what you have to work with and you got to make it work. And you can, like I said, you can always be more creative
Hmm.
and you can always
Yep.
do more for your kids without having the most extravagant equipment or stuff like that too. So I know a
Yep.
lot of
I
people
agree,
get
man.
by with just a kickboard or just a snorkel and some paddles and a pull buoy. You know,
Yep. Yep. I
I
agree.
mean that because that's their kids can't afford all the fancy equipment, so it's like we need a snorkel, a pull buoy, and a pair of paddles. We can make do with that. So
Yeah. Okay, so this is my last question. Uh, and you might not even think of this. I wouldn't, but what would be like your ideal situation? If you had like perfect situation, perfect pool availability.
oh, I would love to swim long course probably 3 times a week, and probably being
Hmm.
Saturday one of them because Saturday is always aerobic for me. But at the same time, I love swimming short course year round still. Like there's so many benefits to it. There's so many skills that kids get, and there's so much less lazy swimming because of how everything is structured. Now, obviously, a kid cannot try to practice here and there, but you can structure everything to where there's less lazy swimming for them to just get lost in the mix in the middle of the pool. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of three, but like I said, doing the speed work and power towers and all the parachutes and stuff and yards, I think that's super beneficial. Like you're still getting stronger. The kids are getting benefits from it. And I think if we pushed it even further with parachutes, they wouldn't do it as well. So
Hmm.
it's more like how would
Yeah.
I get the most out of them? I would love to have some aerobic long course time in there. And I think, maybe having like 2 mornings or like two speed ones, or even Monday morning being an aerobic time, that'd be great. Or
Hmm.
if I had four, that'd be nice too. Having Saturday as the fourth. But again, I think every time you think about it and you want to add one more, it's really just so that way you're not only doing pace work and long course, I think. So, but
Yeah.
like I said, you can get by with both. I think it really is up to the coach to help make the path clear for the kids to figure out what they need to do to get by.
Yeah. So I got a lot of questions about this and I didn't want to make a video of just me talking about this because I'm in we get like 4 or 5 long course workouts a week. So
Right.
like we're just in a different situation. We own our pool and stuff like that. Like we have all that. I will say though, when a kid's having a bad day, man, a bad long course practice
A lot worse than
sucks.
it's a lot worse than a bad yards practice, right?
Vault worst, dude. Yeah, especially if it's like the aerobic day and it's like their stroke counts. Like in short course, they'll add a stroke or two per 25. It's like
Right.
they're normally taking 12, they're taking 13s or 14s now.
Right.
Long course, it's like they normally take 32, they're like 39.
Right.
Like,
Well, and you have some kids who are maybe taking 45 as well. You know what I mean?
hmm
So
Yeah.
I
And
I think
that,
it
yeah, it gets real
just
rough.
depends. So
Yeah. The other day we did a aerobic set and it was a little harder than I wanted it to be. So I let them tough it out for round one. And then round two we went fins and paddles and it got way
yeah,
better.
for sure. I mean, like that's the thing. People got to know how to adjust too and modify their set to make sure it's working. Because if it's not
hmm
working for the kids, then and there's nothing saying you can't make them tough it out for a round or two, because that does help them
Yeah.
build some grit, I think, and make them a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
But you can always modify it as well to get more results out of it, you know?
hmm Yeah. And I
So,
think you said it earlier, kids feeling successful, that's just a big thing. Like the
yeah,
we're all working hard, I believe. I don't think anybody's like, oh, we actually don't work hard on our team. Like everybody's working hard. So it's like
right,
that lever, the hard work lever,
right,
it's like most people are pulling that pretty hard. Like
right. Or their
we're
coach
not.
is trying to pull it down harder.
Yeah, and like when you're already at 90%, it's there's not a big benefit to going that extra 10 other than
Right.
ruining your next practice.
For sure. And I think that's the other thing. Some coaches think they have to push super, super hard every single practice to make the most out of it. And you'll start seeing a lot of fatigue gets generated, and then those you'll start ruining practices in the week. Or the ones you wanted to be better, they get ruined. So
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Thanks for all your thoughts there. I think that's going to help a lot of people. And if anybody wanted to ask you questions, how would they reach out to you?
tell them to shoot me an email. And then I'll give them my phone number. They can call me or text me.
Cool. All right. I'll put your email in the notes of the
Sounds good.
podcast episode.
All right,
Cool.
cool.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for your
Yep.
time. Have
Yep.
a
I'll
good
see you
one.
in a week.
Dude, y'all are bringing y'all are I don't how many is your site bringing? It's hard to
My
tell.
site's
Hot days.
Quaday's bringing 86. My site's bringing
hmm
50.
That's awesome. Wow.
So I had some more that wanted to go, but like it was just there's a couple kids who are traveling this first week in June because I didn't want them to travel the week of 4th of July. So like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think we're ready to throw down this year, you know. When my site went
Awesome,
the
man.
last time 2 summers ago, I think we got second by ourselves. So hopefully with the other kids in there, we can get closer to beating you guys at your home meet, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. No, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
So
We'll have all of our guys here, so that'll be good.
yeah, for sure.
Um, our 50 freestylers moving. Our 13,
Anna,
14 boy. Dynamite?
oh,
No, Dynamite.
Dynamite's moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's he moving to? We talked about this
He's
at
going
tag.
to he's going to LAC to
They're
move into
moving to
Kelly.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Of course. You said that would happen.
Yeah. 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 I don't know if it's for swimming. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. His parents always said Midland's always been a stopping point for them. So I don't know, but
It happens. But we
it
literally talked
happens.
about that at tags on the pool deck. I remember. You're like, I wouldn't be surprised if he moved. All
Yeah. Yep. It's all good. Cool,
right.
man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for the time.
Yep. Yep. All right. Take it easy, Mike.